Welcome to SATV News. This is Riaz Mahmood with our headlines. Government finalizes July declaration draft set to unveil the declaration on August 5. Steps to be taken soon to identify unknown July martyrs, says Home Affairs advisor. No scope to amend constitution outside parliament, says Amir Khosrow. Those trying to obstruct democratic process do not believe in democracy. Now in details, the interim government has finalized the draft of the July declaration, which will be presented to the nation on 5 August at 5 p.m. in the presence of all parties involved in the mass uprising. Details of the event will be announced soon, according to a statement issued by the Chief Advisor's press wing. Ahead of the anniversary of the uprising, the interim government has recently sent the final draft of the July declaration to various parties, including the BNP, Jamaat-e-Islami and the National Citizens Party. The idea of the July declaration first came into public view on the night of 28 December last year, when National Citizen Party leader Hasnat Abdullah announced on Facebook that a declaration of the July revolution would be declared at the Shaheed Mina on 31st December. Home Advisor, retired Lieutenant General Muhammad Jahangir Alam Chaudhry, announced today that steps will be taken soon to confirm the identities of 114 July martyrs buried in the mass grave at Rayar Bazaar in the city. There is a mass grave containing the remains of 114 July martyrs whose identities have yet to be confirmed. We are initiating efforts to identify them soon, he said during a visit to the site. Speaking to journalists following the visit, he confirmed that the government has decided to move forward with these efforts after receiving consent from all relevant parties. Once their identities are confirmed, the martyrs' families will have the option to either claim the bodies or leave them in the mass grave, said Mr. Jahangir. Besides, the Home Advisor further expressed dissatisfaction with the construction quality of the mass grave and urged the media to give the issue the attention it deserves. In response to a query, the advisor reiterated that those responsible for the mass killing must be brought to justice. BNP Standing Committee member Amir Khosrow Mahmood Chaudhry today said any amendment to the constitution must be done in the parliament. There is no scope for constitutional amendments outside the parliament, he said while speaking as the chief guest at a memorial meeting marking the 5th death anniversary of former BNP Vice Chairman Abdul Mannan held at the ICMAB auditorium in Nilkhet in the city. The veteran BNP leader also said that discussions regarding constitutional amendment are still ongoing. If any amendments are to be made to the constitution, they must be done through parliament. Every party must seek a mandate from the people for such changes, and this must occur within the parliamentary framework, he added. If any changes are to be brought about through a transparent and democratic process, there is no scope to do so outside the parliament, he asserted. Mr. Khosrow further said those who are attempting to obstruct Bangladesh's future democratic process and disrupt elections do not believe in democracy. Labour and Employment Advisor, retired Brigadier General M. Shakhawat Hussain has said the government cannot be blamed for the closure of certain factories, attributing the situation to mismanagement and fund diversion by some owners. Some individuals have established industrial enterprises to divert funds. Those who took bank loans, laundered money abroad and failed to pay their workers have now fled the country. That is why some factories have shut down, he said. He made the remarks today while speaking to officers and staff of the Department of Labour as well as trade union leaders at the National Occupational Safety and Health Training and Research Institute in Rajshahi. The advisor said the country's export earnings have risen by 7% to 8% due to the continued operation of well-managed factories. Addressing worker protests, he said workers' demands are endless. They can certainly protest. Anyone can take to the streets with their demands, added the advisor. Earlier, the advisor inaugurated the country's first occupational safety and health research conference at the institute. Five passengers of a CNG-run auto rickshaw were killed after it was hit by a train in Ramu Upazila of Cox's Bazar earlier today. The incident took place around 1:15 p.m. at the Dhuli Chhara rail crossing on the Dhaka-Cox's Bazar route. Abdul Qayyum, assistant station master of Ramu, said the Cox's Bazar express train reached the level crossing at Dhuli Chhara area in Ramu just moments before the collision took place. The train reportedly dragged the auto rickshaw for nearly half a kilometer. 3 passengers died on the spot, while 2 others succumbed to their injuries after being rushed to hospital. Viewers are taking a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. You are watching SATV News. Now, news from abroad. At least 24 Palestinians, including 13 aid seekers, have so far been killed today in Israeli attacks across Gaza. 2 more children and an adult have died due to famine and malnutrition, the enclave's health ministry said, bringing the number of deaths from starvation in the territory to 162, including 92 children. Palestinians in the besieged Gaza Strip describe desperate struggle for food while the Israeli bombardment continues. Israel's war on Gaza has killed at least 60,332 people and wounded 1,47,643 others. An estimated 1,139 people were killed in Israel during the October 7 attack, and more than 200 were taken captive. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump on Friday said his Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff had a great meeting on getting Palestinians in Gaza fed. President Donald Trump's Middle East envoy visited a U.S.-backed aid operation in Gaza on Friday, which the United Nations has partly blamed for deadly conditions in the enclave, saying he sought to get food and other aid to people there. Witkoff visited a site run by the U.S. and Israeli-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation in Rafah in the war-shattered Palestinian territory, where Israel has been fighting Hamas. However, hours after Witkoff's visit, Palestinian medics reported Israeli forces shot dead 3 Palestinians near one of the group's sites in the city on Gaza's southern edge. Cambodia will nominate U.S. President Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize, said the country's Deputy Prime Minister on Friday, following Trump's direct intervention in halting the Southeast Asian country's recent border conflict with Thailand. Speaking to reporters in the capital Phnom Penh, Sun Kantrol thanked Trump for bringing peace and said he deserved to be nominated for the prize, the highest-profile international award given to an individual or organization deemed to have done the most to advance fellowship between nations. It was a call by Trump to Thailand's leader last week that broke a deadlock to end the heaviest fighting in over a decade between Thailand and Cambodia, leading to a ceasefire negotiated in Malaysia last week, Reuters has reported. The clashes claimed at least 43 lives, many of them civilians, and displaced more than 30 lakhs people. Meanwhile, Donald Trump on Friday fired a top Labor Department official on the heels of a market-shocking weak scorecard of the U.S. job market, accusing her without evidence of manipulating the figures and adding to already growing concerns about the quality of economic data published by the federal government. Trump accused Erica McEntire, appointed by former President Joe Biden, of faking the jobs numbers. A representative for the BLS did not respond to a request for comment. Friday began with BLS reporting the U.S. economy created only 73,000 jobs in July, but more stunning were net downward revisions showing 2,558,000 fewer jobs had been created in May and June than previously reported. Donald Trump said that Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva can call him anytime to discuss tariffs and other friction between the countries. While speaking to the reporters at the White House, he added that he was fond of the Brazilian people, but the people running Brazil did the wrong thing. Later, Brazil Finance Minister Fernando Haddad called Trump's remarks great, saying he is sure Lula feels the same and would be willing to receive a call from the U.S. president. In a post on his X account, Lula said Brazil has always been open to dialogue, although he did not mention Trump nor his earlier remarks. Trump slapped a 50% tariff on Brazil with many exemptions starting next week to fight what he has called a witch hunt against former President Jair Bolsonaro, who is on trial on charges of plotting a coup following his election loss in 2022. Four people were shot and killed Friday morning after a gunman opened fire at the Owl Bar in Anaconda, Montana around 10:30 a.m. local time, authorities said. The suspect, identified as 45 years old Mikhail Paul Brown, lived next door to the bar. Authorities were searching for him in the wooded, mountainous terrain west of Anaconda. By Friday afternoon, police vehicles were stationed outside the Owl Bar as the investigation continued. Governor Greg Gianforte said in a post on X that he was closely monitoring the situation and urged prayers for the victims, their families, and the law enforcement officers responding. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives confirmed that agents from its Denver office were assisting with the investigation. Russian President Vladimir Putin said on Friday that Moscow hoped for more peace talks with Ukraine, but that the momentum of the war was in its favor, signaling no shift in his stance despite a looming sanctions deadline from Washington. US President Donald Trump has said he will impose new sanctions on Moscow and countries that buy its energy exports unless Russia moves by August 8 to end the war. He has expressed mounting frustration with Putin, accusing him of bullshit and describing Russia's latest attacks on Ukraine as disgusting. Putin, without referring to the Trump deadline, said 3 sessions of peace talks with Ukraine had yielded some positive results, and Russia was expecting negotiations to continue. As for any disappointments on the part of anyone, all disappointments arise from inflated expectations. This is a well-known general rule, he said, but in order to approach the issue peacefully, it is necessary to conduct detailed conversations. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky condemned the deadly Russian strikes on Kyiv in his Friday evening address, calling them one of the most brutal attacks on the capital. He said that ordinary residential buildings, businesses and a mosque were damaged and added that there was no military purpose to the strikes. Ukrainian rescuers recovered more than a dozen more bodies from the rubble of a collapsed apartment block in Kyiv overnight, bringing the death toll from Russia's worst airstrike of the year on Ukraine's capital to 31.
Діти 2007 рік, народження 2011 рік. 14, 18, навіть 22 рік. Це був один із найбільш жорстоких російських ударів по Києву. 150.
Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian criticized attacks on its nuclear facilities by Israel and the United States last month before departing for Pakistan on a 2-day state visit on Saturday. Pezeshkian said Pakistan was one of the countries that condemned the attacks and that security and border issues in the region were a top priority. He also said Iran and Pakistan plan to increase their bilateral trade volume to $10 billion annually, strengthening and developing border trade via land, air and sea with Pakistan is one of the priorities of this trip, added Pezeshkian. Besides, he said that security and border issues are of great importance to Iran and Pakistan, adding Iran strives to establish regional security through coordination between the two countries. Pezeshkian further stated that the goal is to maintain unity and cohesion between Iran and Pakistan, adding that the enemy has a plan to create discord among Muslims, which will be thwarted by the Muslim nations.
تمامیت ارضی کشورمان و دولت و ملت انجام خواهند. سلام.
Now sports. Bangladesh under-19 delivered a fiery bowling display to thrash hosts Zimbabwe by 8 wickets with a staggering 209 balls to spare in their 4th match of the Tri-Nation tournament to secure a place in the final alongside South Africa. Opting to bowl fast on Friday in Harare, the young Tigers dismantled the Zimbabwean batting order thanks largely to Iqbal Hussain Iman's impressive spell of 4 for 27. The hosts were skittled out for just 89 runs in 22 overs in the ODI clash. Sanjeev Mazumdar and Shaheen Islam picked up 2 wickets apiece. Shaheen bowled just 1 over, Zimbabwe's final over, snapping up 2 quick scalps. Mohammad Rafiu Zaman Rafi and Rizan Hussain also chipped in to round off a brilliant bowling effort. Only 4 Zimbabwean batters reached double figures, with opener Nathaniel Halbagana top scoring with 26. In reply, Bangladesh chased down the target in just 15 overs. Captain Azizul Haq anchored the innings with an unbeaten 49 of 47 balls, guiding his side home with ease. The win confirms Bangladesh's spot in the final against South Africa. Pakistan and West Indies are set to take on each other in the second match of the 3-match T20 International Series on Monday at Central Broward Regional Park Stadium turf ground in Florida. The match will start at 6 a.m. Pakistan, fresh off a comprehensive victory in the first T20, are leading the series 1-0 and would hope to secure the series clinching win heading into the second game. Meanwhile, West Indies remain in deep trouble as the former T20 champions have lost 6 matches in a row, including a clean sweep in the preceding 5-match T20 series against Australia. West Indies' second game against Pakistan is highly crucial to win to stage their comeback in the series and level it 1-1. Despite having the firepower and consistency led the Caribbean to defeat, their bowling has also been underwhelming at crucial moments, allowing the opponent to stamp 30. West Indies, however, would aim for a spirited response to remain alive in the series. Before ending, we go through the headlines again. Government finalizes July declaration draft set to unveil the declaration on August 5. Steps to be taken soon to identify unknown July martyrs, says Home Affairs advisor. No scope to amend constitution outside parliament, said Amir Khosrow. Those trying to obstruct democratic process do not believe in democracy. You are updated with our top stories so far here on SATV, and to know the latest news, visit www.satv.tv. Stay with SATV.